guys, and welcome to my channel. And today we're going to create this beautiful visual inspired by Damien Hirst's speed painting techniques. And just before we go into any of the technical gibberish, I'm going to introduce a little bit about the inspiration of the visual today, which is Damien Hirst's speed painting. So these are some of the reference photos that I have collected of Damien Hirst's speed paintings to be able to study the style as well as to figure out the way how to recreate this kind of visual in Touch Designer. And what I imagine in the process of doing this is how can I turn this into an automated animations. And just a little bit about Damien Hirst and his speed painting techniques. So Damien Hirst was a very prominent figures in the YBAs, or the Young Artists, Young British Artists movement in the 90s. And he was famous for the series of speed painting as well as many other works that was inside of museum collection as well as prestigious private collections. So you guys should check out definitely his work. Anyway, some of the paintings here is made with different period of career of Damien Hirst, and as a result it has different slightly different style, but the most innovative thing that Damien Hirst has come up with this series painting, which is basically he used a circular canvas and put that on a mortars, and when the painting is spin, he's going to scatter the paint on top of it, and as a result what you can see here is a representation of time, of chaos, of explosions, and these are some of the keywords as well as the inspiration that helped me figure out a way to recreate this kind of paintings in Touch Designer. Now, without further ado, let's go into Touch Designer and recreate this painting. Okay, just before we go into making all the steps necessary to be able to recreate this visual, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the structure of the general structure of this project over here. So what I have here is basically a system of particles which is emitted out of a circle, and from this circle over here is going to scale up and down using a noise, and it's going to create this kind of particles, and then I'm going to put that into a feedback loops, and then through the feedback loop it's going to create all this trail that you see on the screen over here, and it's create this kind of explosion of colors. Okay, so it's pretty it, and the last is just some compositing, very simple one, then output. So the first thing I want to do is going to create a circle shop. So we go into shop and circle, put this here, and then we're going to put it through a particle system also in the shop, and connect the output of the circle to the input of the particle system, and immediately you're going to see this particle system generated. So the way that the particle system works is going to generate particles out of the point that is on your shapes. Okay, so on the circle over here, if I increase the division to 1000, you're going to see that it's create this kind of continuous shape of the circle, okay, which is something that we can go back to modify later. So basically what we want to do now is going to create a geometries for the particle system. So I'm going to use the middle mouse buttons, click on the gap between the two rectangle over here, and going to add in geometry. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in a render as well. And camera. And then on the geometry here, I'm going to add in a material constant and drag and drop this into material. And you see nothing happens, just a line of circle that goes around the circle. Okay, but bear with me so we can make some magic happens after the feedback loop. Now I'm going to add in a feedback loop over here. Top feedback, and going to add in the compositions and put the output of the render to the bottoms of the compositions, the bottom input of the composite over here. And then we're going to drag and drop this back to the composite, and you see nothing happens. It's because the operation is set to multiply. Set this one to over, and suddenly you will see this kind of circular shape being created around the circle soft that we have at the beginning. Okay, just leave it there. We good. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to make a variation of radius for the circle over here. And the reason why we need to do that is because the particle system generates the points from the particles from the points of the circle over here. So we need to make the circle very small, and as a result it's going to look like that the particles are going to be emitted from the center of the canvas over here. All right, so I can add in a noise chop, and going to add in transform a yes time dot second, and I'm going to multiply it by 10 so it's a little bit more dynamic and faster. And then I'm going to add in the math, and on the range over here I'm just going to put -1, okay, because you see on the graph over here it's actually go sometime to 1 and sometime to -1. Okay, so we're going to put from range -1, the other one is 1, so this is maximum and this is minimum to range. Okay, so this is the minimum range that the new value is going to reach. So I'm going to put 0 here. So basically 0 here means that the radius of the circle is going to be 0, and the maximum here is going to be 0.5. Okay, very small. And then on the noise over here, we're going to turn on the time slice, so that it converted into this kind of time slide graph. And then on the math over here, I can click on the view actives and use the mouse buttons, right mouse button to drag and drop it into the circle and onto the radius. Release that, drop reference. So now we have a circle that's scaling up and down over time. Okay, and immediately you're going to see that the feedback is going to be something like this. Okay, very small. Okay, now we need to make the amplitude of the noise a little bit larger so that the scaling up and down of the circle is going to be much more dramatic. Okay, so I put this to 7. Maybe a little bit too much because it's going to go outside the screen, huh? So maybe I put that to 5. Okay, so we have this kind of very fast moving circle, and you're gonna see that in the particle system is started to create this kind of random shape, but at the same time it's emitted out of the center of the world over here. And if you check the result, you're going to see that it's starting to create all this kind of lines in our compositions. Okay, so just before we go into the next step, I have to reset the feedback over here. Normally speaking, we want to reset the feedback, we have to manually click on pulse over here on the feedback top, but that would be a waste of time. So I'm going to add in a shortcut to this functions, and I'm going to add in a chop and tiny keyboard in and turn this on, and then drag and drop this into the pulse. So now whenever we press 1 on our keyboards, the feedback loop is going to be resetted. Okay, and it's a little bit too small, huh? It's because I miss the setting in the camera over here. So basically the camera is very far away from the objects, and to fix that, the quickest way is just going to into view active, click on this and press H on your keyboards, and it's going to center the particle system in the middle of the screen or the camera view. Okay, so now what you're going to see is this kind of beautifully generative lines being emitted from the middle of the screen. Let me reset the feedbacks, and you're going to see it's emitted in the middle of the screen over here. So this is what we wanted for the lines. And then what we want to do next is going to add in an RGB channel to the constant, so I can change the colors of the material or the constant over here over time, so that it generates this kind of rainbow graphics colors for the end result. So let's add in a noise, another noise, top, transform APS time second, and multiply by 10, and then noise. I'm going to convert the channel names to RG and B, H1 with a space in the middle. Okay, and on the comments over here, I'm going to turn on the time slide. So we have over time 3 channel RGB running, and can use this R for the first value, chart reference, second value, for the green and blue for the last channel, last value. And you're gonna see in the end result, you started to create all kind of colors in your compositions. Okay, come over here. I'm just going to do a little bit of composition to make the color a little bit more vibrant, because what we have here is a little bit darker. So I'm going to add in an HSV, adjust, and plug this one into the HSV. And saturation, I'm going to increase it a little bit. Value multiply as well, so you see that the colors become very vibrant now. Okay. And then the next step is putting this into a transform. And then we're going to put a background onto this one. So I'm just going to put in a black background. So this is the alpha channel, and I'm going to type in 1 and turn on comb over background colors. You're gonna see that the background of this painting has been changed from transparent to black. And then next thing I want to do is I'm going to comb it on a circle and put this one to a circle 8. .5 25. Okay, then in the output over here of the circle, I'm going to put this one to inside. Okay, and swap order, turn this on. Okay, so you're going to see all of the painting we have over here. And next thing you want to do is putting this one into an output. And just before that, I'm just going to put this one through a transform. And the purpose of this is just to give a white background to the transparency over here. So white and one combo background, turn this on. And now if we turn on the result, this is what we have. Okay, so this is the painting that we have just created using particle system feedback. Okay, we nearly there. This is a very basic of the techniques, but we can tweak the settings a little bit just to create a more dynamic painting for the end result. Okay, so this is basically the final result of our experiment with recreating his Damien Hirst painting in Touch Designer. And just one note before we go is that you can play around with the period of the initial noise top that we have at the beginning. The more you increase the period over here, the more consistent the stroke is going to be, and the less value the period is going to be, the more line is going to create in the paintings. Okay, so this is basically the end of the tutorial, and see you next time. And remember to subscribe to my channels as well as to subscribe to my patrons. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you.